Howdy, y'all, and good morning. Oh, it feels wonderful out here. We had a cold front come in, or cool front or something, and it dropped the temperatures down from where it was in like the high 80s earlier this week, and it is now like 58 degrees outside, and the sun's shining, and it feels absolutely fantastic. So, surprise, surprise, we got a second video this week. I don't normally do this, but hey, I figured why not? I realized that there were some things that I wanted to go over in my previous video about the bow, and I wanted to show you guys some shooting videos. So I just got off of work, and I'm going to go ahead and go to a range, and we're going to go practice. Now I know what you're thinking. Jack, you just got off a 10-hour shift. Aren't you tired? Well, yeah, I'm exhausted. But sometimes in life, when you want things, you got to make little sacrifices. And today, I choose to sacrifice sleep. So, we are going to be going to a place here in Austin, because that's where I work, and it's conveniently like 6 minutes away from my office. So, it's called Archery Country, and they have it's a bow-only place. So, it, as the name may suggest, it has got tons of bows. I've visited their website. Their bows, definitely not budget bows. No. But if you're ever interested and you're in the area of getting a custom bow made for you, they've got some really great options. And so we are going to go there here in a little bit, and they got an indoor range. Their indoor range goes to 20 yards. So I'm going to go there, and we're going to practice, see if I can send some arrows downrange. I want to make sure that my pins are aligned. I know my first pin is right now sighted in for 10 yards. But my second pin and my third pin, I don't know. So I'm also going to go over some bow anatomy today, just things that I found out recently, and kind of go over some stuff with y'all. So see y'all here in a bit. To be clear, the reason why I'm doing this on a work day when I have work tomorrow is because this range is not open on Sundays and Mondays, which just so happen to be my days off. So, I would like to go hunting this weekend, if I can. The weather, like I said, the weather's cooled off quite a bit. It's a drastic change, so I'm hoping that we'll get a little bit more deer action. So, I can't wait for Tuesday when they open back up to sight my bow in. That's 2 days where I could possibly be missing opportunities. I'd also like to ask them some information about whether or not I should go with mechanical broadheads or if I should go with fixed blades. I know in my last video I had said some information about how apparently with broadheads you get a better blood trail because they have 3 blades. And while a lot of the stuff that I've seen online, because I've done some more research, while a lot of the stuff online says that that's pretty accurate because, you know, triangular shaped wounds traditionally have been very hard to heal and very hard to stitch up. Both mechanical enthusiasts and fixed blade enthusiasts both say the same stuff about their choice of blades. So it's kind of one of those things where it's really dependent on your preference. I think I could possibly get pretty good results with both, but just because I'm really new to this and I want to have the best experience that I can for the money, I'm going to ask as much information as I can. And that's something with hunting, guys, that don't be afraid to do. If you don't know something, do your research. I mean, there are thousands of hunters on YouTube that, I mean, we want to see this livelihood go on. You know, it's a hunting and it is a way of life. You know, it is a tradition at this point. We want to see this go on, and the best way we can get y'all educated is to get y'all interested. And if you're interested, you start asking questions. But you can't be afraid to ask questions. There are a lot of hunting forums you can go on. Like I said, YouTube is a boon when it comes to information. So don't be afraid to ask. Like I said, I'm not an expert hunter. I've been hunting for a long time. I know a lot of information, but there are still some things that are completely alien to me. There are certain species that I haven't gone after. There are certain hunting techniques, like bow hunting, for instance, that I've never tried before. So don't be afraid to ask questions. That's key, you know. A lot of people might tell you different answers, and that's going to be okay too, because like I said, with hunting, it is definitely one of those pastime activities, one of those activities that is very dependent on your experience. You know, if I went, but let's say, to example, you know, bird hunting, you know, I prefer hunting with a 20 gauge. That's just my preferred shell. I like it. I think it knocks down birds just fine. There are some people out there who are going to say 20 gauge is awful for hunting birds, and that you should only go with 12 gauge. There are some people who are going to say 20 gauge is the only way. Do what makes you feel comfortable. If it can get the job done, do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone here because I'm getting back on the highway, and I will see you all here at the range. This is where I'm practicing at. It's an awesome little place here off 183 called Archery Country. So this was my first grouping at 20 yards. I haven't adjusted the sight yet. I can tell I'm pretty high, so I'm going to try to adjust that down. Record. I'm jerking, that's why it takes some time. That feels a lot better. I feel like I got more control over it. It's hard to kind of stitch these videos together sometimes. Sweet stand you got too, man.
Thanks. Yeah, all my stuff I got from here.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are the best shop I've ever been to. Also the first shop I started at.
Yeah, this is my first time. Well, like I said, this is my first bow. So
These guys are golden. I would just stick with them because if you're like a regular, they'll basically treat you like family. Pull. His little younger brother, you said? Joe? Drew.
Easiest younger way between you.
28. That means my cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You met
Like,
his parents' game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my uncle. That's yeah. Yeah, that's eating a little bit of chewy. No, the other one. Different. Labor Day weekend? No, not Labor Day weekend. The weekend before that.
When you did the lesson.
Yes. No, that was Labor Day weekend. The one before that, like the week after he moved to school. That week. That they came. Remember my uncle was sitting here watching me? No? Was that over your dad? Where's dad? That's his dad, yeah. So you're in college too?
Oh yeah, I go to UIU for lunch.
He's in Illinois. Yeah.
How are you able to get out of the week?
This is at from the week.
You're gonna miss Monday or something?
On Monday class starts at 3 p.m.
That's pretty convenient.
Extended week.
Every time? Pretty much every week?
Every week.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that for Wednesday and Friday? Your labs and stuff?
Oh, the rest of the days my class start at 11 a.m. They go on to 5 p.m.
And then you are gonna jump a little?
Yeah, so basically what we do is it's called the LPW. So we bring our legs together before we jump.
Oh, wow.
So
As you toss?
as we toss, the leg comes forward, we go on toes. And
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I see that. That's
So-
interesting.
so it's
Because
more-
I would think you keep the feet, but you're saying you bring them together.
and then jump. So there's more. Yeah. So you use your body weight as you can.
Like a little bend here,
A little bit. Yeah.
and coming through with this
Yeah, try to make it as much above as you can over here.
as much radius.
Not exactly radius, I would say, but it depends on the serve. So if you want to I use two serves. One is a flat, one is a kick serve. So kick serve is one block spin. So the ball tends to bounce when it goes really high. Flat is more of like if you want like something
Zip it past them.
just zip it flat. You hit the ball flat.
So you change it up.
So
You
usually
give them a flat one and then you give them a bounce.
usually my first serves are flat because I can afford to take the risk.
If they can get it.
Yeah. So the second serve is a kick serve because I need more of accuracy on that one. Kick serve helps you like it's like 90% of the time it does fall in the court and it's pretty effective.
Oh, and
Yeah, with a pole. All right, y'all. So just got home. The range was awesome. So I put in a couple videos. I've showed you guys what it would look like when I was shooting it, and what it looked like when it was actually hitting the target. I ended up doing some changes. So I'm not entirely certain what happened or why it was working this way, but when I originally bought that bow, I bought it at Cabela's, and at their range was at 10 yards. So when I was shooting the bow, it was a little, when I was aiming at the top dot, which should have been my 10-yard zero, it was actually hitting high at 20 yards, which is weird, because it should have been, in my, at least in what I think, if you, any bow hunters out there might be able to tell me why it was like this, but I would think that the further it goes, the lower it would go. So what I was advised to do by the guys at the shop is I was advised to actually set my top pin to 20 yards. They said it's a much more reasonable zero than just 10. I agree with them. I think that's probably a better idea. I did have some problems sighting it in myself. And it's funny. One of the bow techs there, I didn't catch his name. But I asked him for some help, and he was like, yeah, he's like, let me take a quick look at it real quick. And he picked it up and he fiddled with a couple things. He's like, okay, try that. He didn't even watch. He didn't even look down the sights. Didn't try to test fire it or anything. He just handed it back to me. He was like, try this. I'm like, okay. So I shot it, and it was dead on. Perfect zero at 20 yards. That's how you can tell someone's been doing something for quite a while, when they can just pick something up and get a pretty darn good zero at 20 yards. So I just thought that was amazing. But so my bow is at 20 yards. Real quick, I wanted to show you guys where I intend on hunting at. So let me switch this camera around. All right, so I've got this lovely little field here. This is actually my front yard. My house is set up really weird. So this is technically all my front yard. And right there where that little tree is, right there, that one, I would like to set up a little blind. I don't have a blind yet. I think I'm gonna try to make something makeshift for this weekend. But I'd have, if I set it up there, I'd have a pretty good open field of view for this field. And the reason why I chose this field is because I oftentimes see the deer resting here, but whether it be in the early mornings or late in the evenings, there's no food here. So I'm not really sure why they like to hang out in this particular area, but they do. What's funny about this is this is literally just a couple yards away from my house. I would say maybe that's maybe 50, 60 yards away from where I'm currently standing. So yeah, it's gonna be close, but that's where I intend to hunt at. I could also hunt behind my folks' place. They have a stand down there, and they have a feeder. I haven't filled up any corn yet. I know it's probably late to do that. I've been advised by a lot of people that August is usually when you want to start filling up your deer feeders. But I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I was really busy with the dove hunting. So let me go on ahead now. I want to show you a little bit of the bow. So I got the bow here. All right, so just kind of wanted to show y'all a couple things about this bow, okay? And I know this is probably common knowledge to people who are bow hunters, but to some people who aren't, which I know a lot of my audience currently is, I'm just going to kind of go over basically the in and outs of this bow. So for starters, you have a little loop right here. Your hand sets right here. This is designed to go your hand to go through there. That's to make sure you don't drop the bow whenever you release, because at that point you will be holding the bow with one hand. If you're on a tree stand or something like that, you want to make sure that you don't drop your bow as soon as you fire. Right here, this is what's called a whisker biscuit. This basically is what helps guide the arrow through. This is where the actual arrow, this is an arrow rest, that's what it is. They have different types of arrow rests, so you don't have to get this particular whisker biscuit style, but this is just what the bow came with. Of course, you have your strings. Now, this right here, this is what's called a D-loop. And this right here, this little area right here, this is where you're actually going to nock your arrow. Now, the D-loop is actually supposed to be used with this thing. This is what is called a release. So basically this goes strapped around my hand, and eventually once I have the bow drawn back, it clips onto here. Once I have the bow drawn back, I'm able to then pull this trigger and this opens up, releasing the arrow. I've only ever heard this being called a release. I don't know if there are any other names to it, but this is my release. They have a couple different types. I've seen some where you can actually release it with your thumb. They have a whole bunch of different styles. This is actually the one that my dad gave me, so it works pretty fine, and I didn't feel like I needed to get another one. And then of course you have your bow sight there. Now that's actually just your front sight. Something I did not know, because I play a lot of hunting games, and in the hunting games you really only just aim down this sight. What I did not know is that there is another sight right here. This is what's called a peep sight. So if you've ever seen a gun before, you know that there are two sights on a gun. You have your back sight and you have your front sight to align. This is the back sight to this. So I know it's at an angle. It's like that because once I pull this bowstring back, this will actually be straight in line with these pins here. So I would aim down this, align my pin to my target, and then hopefully with steady hands, release the target. So that's the design for this. I did not know this existed. It just shows you what little knowledge I had about bows. I'm sure the video games didn't help, but it just goes to show you, you can't always trust things you see in video games, even hunting-related stuff. This right here, I believe this is for balance. I did not actually ask what this is, and I haven't done any research on it yet, but I'm fairly certain this is to help balance the bow, put a little bit of counterweight. I think it's a counterweight. I know I've seen a lot of people have ones that are longer than this, so I'm fairly certain that's what this is for, but could be wrong. Like I said, didn't ask. And then the last little bit here is, of course, you have your quiver. This can actually come off of the bow. You don't have to have it on your bow. When I'm hunting, I probably won't have it on my bow at the moment. But this holds 5 arrows. I only got 4 in there right now. But yeah, that's pretty much the ins and outs of the bow from what I know. I'm sure there's more about this that I could go over, but like I said, I'm not super knowledgeable. That's just what I've figured out so far. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video, guys. That's really all I wanted to show you. I guess I will go into kind of the benefits of bow hunting. So I'm not sure how it is in other counties, but I know that in my county during rifle season, there are only 4 days out of the year that you can take does. That is usually Thanksgiving weekend, the weekend right after Thanksgiving. Those 4 days is when you can take does. Not a very big time frame. I know a lot of people make it work, but for me, that's not a really big time frame, especially because I work those days. And I work night shift, so I wouldn't be able to hunt the morning shift. At least I'd have to be hard pressed to work the evening or to hunt the evening time. So the benefit with bow season is throughout the entire archery season, which is September 1st to November 3rd, at least for my zone, you can take does at any time. which I just recently found out. So if I would have known that earlier, I probably would have gotten into bow hunting a lot earlier, because that is, I mean, that's months of time compared to just 4 days. So that's definitely a benefit. You get earlier access to bucks. Sometimes it's early, so they might not necessarily be rutting yet. But you get earlier access to them. So while other rifle hunters may be waiting for that big buck, you might be able to come in and swoop it out of the area, you know. Also, it's quiet. You know, the bow, it's not going to make the loud bang like a gun does. So as far as like scaring off other animals in the area, you can avoid that. And I have seen some videos where hunters will take a shot from a bow, and the deer will run off for a second, but they come back because it wasn't a loud enough noise to scare them. So that's also, I mean, that's not a guarantee, so I can't guarantee that that's going to happen to you. That's just what I've seen from some other videos that I've watched. But there are a lot of other benefits to bow hunting. It's also just fun. I had a blast at the range. I only shot for about an hour, but I could have definitely shot for more. It felt so much more involved than just aiming and pulling a trigger. I mean, I had to keep my balance right. I had to make sure my posture was good. It was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So anyways, that's enough of me yakking. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Once again, guys, really, really appreciate y'all's support. I hope that in some way I am able to help educate y'all and maybe get y'all interested into hunting. Like I said earlier, you know, we want this community to grow, not shrink. And it doesn't matter where you come from, whether you live in the city or whether or not you live out in the country like me, you can go hunting. You can live this lifestyle. It's a very natural lifestyle, and I feel like these are important things to know about just life. So anyways, guys, if you can, give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But like I said, you don't have to. I'm not going to pull your arm about it. And I will catch you guys next time.